What's going on, guys? King Shrats here, back with another video on the channel. And today I just came back from the movies, and since it's past midnight, there's not many places open, and we got some Taco Bell. So we're gonna play a game, because I have no idea what's what, because everything from Taco Bell is exactly the same, and hope they got my order right. I think they did. I'm not gonna sit here and lie about that fact, but let's go through this and talk a little bit while we talk about the need. Well, they brought it back. It's this one. It's the double steak grilled cheese spicy burrito. I don't even know what the hell they call it, but that's what we got. Last time I got this, they actually screwed up and didn't give me the right. It's upside down. Yeah, that. Didn't give me the right one. What the hell? Oh, come on, pinch it. Look at, man. I have never in my life witnessed so many jalapenos on a freaking burger. Look at, on a burger, on a burrito. It got me flustered. Look at this. I'm befuddled, bro. They must have been like, yo, F this guy for cut. Look at this. Taco Bell. This is your legacy. This is why it's fun to open things up with you guys. So that is what we did today. Let's see what else we got. Grilled cheese burrito. Oh, I know they was mad at me, boy. The place closed at 1. I got there at like 12:08, which means they already probably clocked out. I got more jalapenos than humans are actually probably supposed to consume. So we got the grilled cheese burrito as well. That looks up to par with more jalapenos on this side. If anybody wants some extra jalapenos, you can have some, because I got plenty. We also have a chalupa. Is this a Supreme? Supposed to be. Is there sour cream in it? No, this is the cheddar smoky chipotle one. I don't care what nobody says. Listen, I enjoy Taco Bell as much as the next person, but everything looks exactly the same. This one is the Chalupa Supreme. No lettuce, because lettuce sucks. We got a Doritos Locos Taco that somebody played kickball with. We all know Sago Bell. Yes, I'm going to call them Sago Bell because Taco Bell food. I live 0.3 miles away from Taco Bell. In other words, there's like 2 blocks, literally. And people always say you have to eat it, you waited too long. I came home, dumped the contents onto here, and this is what we have. This is the dollar menu version, or the value menu, I should say. I don't really know what it is. I forgot. You know it's Taco Bell, bro. It don't even matter. Of course, we have the chips and salsa. I never get Nachos Bel Grande anymore because I just don't care about it that much. With the cheese, because that's dollar menu or value menu. Of course, one of the dopest things at Taco Bell, which is the cheesy Fiesta potatoes. And you all know the goat drink, which is the Baja Blast, but it's diet. They do make diet Baja Blast, believe it or not. We got a Taco Bell lineup. I also got this cup that I found today, which is my man Freddy. Look how dope that is. Freddy Krueger cup. Spooky season is on the way. And it says, ready or not, here I come. So what I want to do today, since we did it last time with the Predator franchise, is going to rank my favorite slasher series of all time. I'm going to start with the GOAT to me, Nightmare on Elm Street, ranked today. There are 7 films in total, if you don't know, starting with the original all the way up to the remake, which was the last one, which came out in, I believe, 2010. I'm probably one of the biggest Freddy Krueger fans when it comes to slasher films. I just think that Freddy is supreme over every slasher character. Let's try this spicy, hot fucking mess that's right here, that they put way too many jalapenos and the cheese isn't really melted, but is the double steak spicy grilled cheese burrito or something like that. Other than the fact that there are way too many jalapenos on here, that's actually not bad. This is my first time actually having this one, because when I ordered it the first time, they screwed up and gave me like an incorrect burrito. Lots of steak, and this is good. They weren't kidding. There's hella steak, a lot of rice in here. Those crispy, what do you call those? Like the crispy tortilla chips, the red joint. And it's as big as a Chipotle burrito. I don't know if that's a knock on Chipotle or a good GG's on Taco Bell, but I actually like that. Tell you what. But I was talking about Freddy, and I'm gonna say it again. Freddy's the coolest one to me. I just think he has more iconic features than any other slasher killer. Yes, I know Jason has his mask and his machete, but Freddy's got the fedora. He's got that red and green striped sweater, which is what you see here. His finger knives, his burnt skin, and it's just, for me, because he's so funny, and because Nightmare on Elm Street gives you so many different kinds of movies, There's some where it's downright scary, and then there's some where it's like just straight up hilarious, which I really enjoy about that series. If you don't like Nightmare on Elm Street, I don't know what to tell you, but you just dissed my favorite franchise. Freddy is the GOAT for me, best slasher, and the best series of movies. There's no movie on there, okay, that's a lie. There's 2 movies on there that I really am not a fan of, but we're gonna rank them today. Fiesta potatoes, favorite fast food item at Taco Bell. Value Mania Supreme. I'm gonna give you a bite first of this grilled cheese burrito because it's the first time I've had this one too. I got the value box, it was $6, and it came with the chips and salsa and a Doritos Locos Taco. Or was it the chalupa? I don't even know. Taco Bell, just everything looks the same. Why are these good today? I'm gonna say it diffy. I am. It is diffy. I'm sorry. This is. If you get Taco Bell and you eat it within the first 10 minutes of it being made, these first 10 minutes are so optimal and they're so good. When it hits minute 11, it turns into mid, and after 20 minutes, it's trash. Taco Bell's like McDonald's fries. When you can get it, like when they just make it, it is truly delicious. Truly. But anyway, let me give you my Freddy rankings. This one I'm not going to spend too much time on. I always say that, and somehow I never do. I'm going to start off with the worst one to me, which was the original ending of Freddy, otherwise known as Freddy's Dead. I just didn't really like the plot. I didn't like the kid in it. It was just very strange. There are some funny Freddy moments, but overall, the movie just went way too Looney Tunes for me. It was just trying too hard to be campy, and Freddy just went full camp. He was just, like, saying all these stupid one-liners, specifically the video game kill. I remember that one with his power glove, and even though I find it funny as hell, it was just too much at that point. And I think that would have been the end where I was like, okay, I've had enough of Freddy, but they came out with other movies, which I liked more than this. So I'm glad that they didn't listen to me. All of these Freddys came out before I was old enough to even watch them. I mean, most of them came out in the 80s, so I was watching them much later. But this one just reminded, it was way too campy for me. Even though in that movie there are one of the more iconic kills in the Freddy series, if you ask me. There's a specific one where a dude has a hearing aid, and Freddy was being funny, but it was working. That was the coolest one. He uses a hearing aid and he makes it like attached to his ear, and he starts like using nails on chalkboard sounds, and the thing bursts, and that one was good. But overall, the way that Freddy died, everything, just least memorable movie by far to me. Next up, since we seem to be going in order right now, we have Nightmare on Elm Street 5. Dream Child. Slightly better than Freddy's Dead, but pretty much the same thing. Convoluted plot, bad special effects, and it doesn't really do anything to advance any of the story. There are some memorable kills. My man, Dan, I found funny as hell. Freddy killed him in his dream while he fell asleep at the wheel, and he ripped his arm off and stuck it on the glass, which I just thought was hilarious as like a 10-year-old. I don't know why. No, I wasn't 10 when the movie came out. I first watched all of these when I was about 10, so you're talking like, you know. But other than that, it's the same thing. I'm going to get through these first 3 pretty fast because I don't like them. And then we're going to get into the real. Next up, believe it or not, is Nightmare on Elm Street 4. They're in order. They won't be from next after this, but The Dream Master. The special effects in this movie, for that era, I wasn't alive during that era, but I watched a lot of movies from it, were very, very good. This is where Freddy started to go a little too Looney Tunes, in my opinion, but it wasn't, like, teetering. I watched these in order for the first time, like, when I watched them as a kid, and it was when I started to notice, like, Freddy was doing a little too much, but it didn't get too bad, and I didn't think it could get worse, but it did. But the nightmare sequences in this movie specifically were really, really good. I thought Freddy was, like I said, like pretty campy, but not too bad yet. Obviously, the acting in this movie is just never that great. It wasn't in this one specifically. But the main thing that made this movie not that great to me, it was good, but on a Freddy scale, not that great. I feel like at this point they were just trying to drag out sequels. It could have easily ended with the Dream Warriors and you would have been fine. But him just kind of saying, like, I'm still alive, I need more people so I can come back to life again, is very Jason-esque on why I don't like Jason. Jason they dragged out much longer, which is why I don't think Jason is as good a franchise as Freddy. But this was when it started to get to that point where it just needed a refreshing of some sort, or to just stop making it and just go with a trilogy. And sometimes these 80s slashers overstay their welcome, and this is like the epitome of that in my opinion. I was just like, really? But special effects and everything else, just the plot was just weak. Now we can get into the movies that I actually enjoy watching a lot more than these. Next up, we have Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. The only reason that I don't rank this higher is because this is Freddy trying to like come into the real world and take over somebody. There's also some really weird scenes in this movie I feel like didn't belong. Like some weird like shower scenes. I remember specifically there was a part where the guy's like brooming in his underwear. It turns out that the director of this movie actually was gay, and he did it for like a sticking it to people that didn't want him to do the movie because he was. So I kind of enjoy the pettiness of that, but like when I'm watching a horror film, there's nothing wrong with like living that kind of life, because some people think that I do, but I don't. But at the same time, I'm trying to watch a movie and it's like not even relevant to the plot. So it's like I just noticed he kept sticking in like weird shower scenes and like coach, weird scenes like that. Also, the hero of this movie was just very bland compared to the other ones. And of course, Heather Langenkamp, who's in most of them that are really good, wasn't in this movie. No Heather, no party. And Freddy at this point wasn't full on like Freddy. He was still finding his way. And it didn't really work that well, though the movie is entertaining. There's that one scene at the end where there's a party and he's kind of offing everybody, which I found cool. But other than that, there's nothing really super memorable. And it's a tough crowd after this. To our Millennial Fest, which was the 2003 Freddy vs. Jason. I wasn't sure if I wanted to include this, but it is a Freddy Krueger movie. It just is a Jason movie, so I'll include them in both. It's right in the middle for me. I think it has a lot more value for me because I am a millennial, and this is like my era of when I started really watching movies. So everything watching this now just brings me back to like 2000s horror movies. It was very that, with the characters, they're very cliche. They have like the angry people. They never seem to all be nice to each other. If you watch movies in the Scream era, the Freddy vs. Jason, like I Know What You Did Last Summer, I feel like everybody in this movie, they're all dicks. Like they're all just dicks to each other all the time. And I don't really know why, but it's home for me. It's what I remember the most. Final Destination, Urban Legends. That is that kind of movie. The plot, yeah, not the best. Jason and Crystal Lake just happened to be next to Elm Street, and they're like right next to each other, and nobody noticed the entire time, and it's just like, okay, not too much. Bringing back Jason, oh, you're still alive. Because Freddy said so, and your mom did. If your mom said you were like, but it was what everybody was craving at this point. Horror movies had like a renaissance in the late 90s when Scream came out. And I was like a kid for that. So I'm starting to become like a young adult. And that movie right there was the culmination because we had spent so much time watching Jason versus Freddy. It almost, if you were around in that time, you can probably agree with me, but there was like an argument of who would win with slasher villains. And it was like, oh, Freddy would kill Jason. Oh, Jason would kill Freddy. So everybody watched that movie like on pins and needles, waiting to see who was going to win. And then it ends in a freaking stalemate. I was rooting for Freddy. I'm not going to lie. I was. I like Freddy. But the stalemate thing just kind of took the wind out of my sails. Shout out to Kelly Rowland, though. Kelly Rowland was in that movie, okay? She didn't even know she was making Dilemma. Actually, Dilemma came out before that. But still, I just like Kelly Rowland, okay? She was my favorite Destiny's Child member when I was a kid. It wasn't Beyonce. No shade to Beehive. It just, I don't know. I liked Kelly over Beyonce. I just felt like she never got enough credit. But that's neither here nor there. The movie was decent. It's not like this crazy plot, but it's so millennial that I just had to love it. That's pretty much it. I'm the only person alive who still likes Diablo sauce. I'm going to put it on my chalupa with no lettuce because we don't like lettuce either. But I got some jalapenos, so I'm going to stick that on there like this. And now we got a spicy chalupa. What are we saying? I have about 3 minutes to eat this. And then it's going to go bad. But it's still very good. Yeah. Believe it or not, a lot of people hated this movie. And when I watched it again, I was surprised. I actually enjoyed it. Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake, 2010. I cannot believe it was dead last. That I'm ranking it so high. I am one of the biggest Robert Englund fans you'll ever meet. I know. This movie would have been great if they would have just did this one the first time over. If you would have had Robert Englund in this movie, it's the most Freddy movie, plot-wise, of any of them. Nightmare on Elm Street 1 was the only time Robert Englund portrayed Freddy scary. This movie was that. He tried his best, but he wasn't Freddy. The only downside to this movie, to me, was that it had already been done. If you watch the original Nightmare on Elm Street, it was pretty much the same thing. The only thing they changed was they give Freddy his original backstory. People said he was a child murderer. He wasn't. I don't want to really talk about it. If you watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Other than that, it's pretty much the same movie. So I couldn't rank it any lower when I actually think about it, because it's the same exact movie as the movie I'm ranking before this, which is A Nightmare on Elm Street, the original 1984 version. This is a very good movie. The only problem with it is there's two, in my opinion, that are better than this. Freddy in this movie is not the Freddy Krueger that people have come to know, the slapstick, joking around type of person that we all talk about. The tone is much more serious. His voice isn't really yet. He's not hamming it up yet, but the movie's still good. Johnny Depp is actually in it. He dies. But Heather Langenkamp is like the epitome of a final girl for me. This movie is just so iconic. And I thought watching these, I watched from the first one, and I remember watching the first one when I watched them in sequence and being like, how'd they top this one? Because everybody had other movies before it, and now I understand. Every time I rewatch them, I'm like, so am I supposed to rank this higher? And I don't. And there's nothing wrong with that, because the first Friday the 13th isn't the best Friday the 13th either. But overall, I just think it's an enjoyable film, and thinking about the time that it came out in and what it tried to do, Freddy's getting people in your dreams. He's actually already gone. It's something that hadn't been done before, and I think that it kind of changed the horror genre between mindless slasher movies where it's just a guy with a knife and just offing random people. It tried to be a little more smarter, and that's what I love about this film so much. I feel like Freddy, for me, changed the game. I just feel like it's a smarter slasher. That first film, to me, just needs to get its credit. The only knock against this film I truly have is that it's not these other two, which I really, really enjoy. If I want a certain type of Freddy and the perfect blend between the two, these next ones for me. First, an intermission to try whatever the hell this is with a Dorito shell on it. I don't know what it is. You can tell me, because it's Taco Bell, and I don't know what's in Taco Bell. I just eat it. What is this? I think this is the beefy, like, dollar menu one. The Taco Bell's all the same, bro. Like, unless you get steak, this is exactly the same as the other one. There's just like a sauce missing of some sort. I don't know why I like Taco Bell. It's literally the same food every time. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program. No, I didn't get a crunch wrap either. I don't like crunch wraps. At number 2, we have Wes Craven's New Nightmare. This is actually the first Freddy Krueger movie I ever saw. I was a super young kid, and I remember my aunt and uncle had the VHS, and my cousin wanted to watch this damn movie. And as a kid, it scared the crap out of me. It probably took me about 5 or 6 more years before I said, you know what, I'm not going to be scared, I'm going to watch the rest of them. And that's how my Freddy love affair, I guess you could call it, came to be. But this movie scared me. Freddy Krueger in this movie is scary. He has a different look. He looks more streamlined. He doesn't have, like, raggy clothes. His face is different. And he's menacing the entire time. He doesn't crack too many jokes. It's none of that. And there's a little kid in this movie who was actually, like, no offense to the kid because he's a child actor. I don't want to watch child actor like that, but he's pretty damn annoying. That's my only con of the movie. But looking back at it now, I don't know why, but I love those meta types of movies where it's like a movie within a movie, and that's what Wes Craven's New Nightmare is. Heather Langenkamp plays herself in her own universe where she played Nancy. Robert Englund is also in the movie, not just as Freddy, but as himself, as a cast member. And I like these kinds of movies. Wes Craven and his like team usually came up, Wes Craven was a go, but they usually had these like premises where they like to have like this meta, self-aware type of movie, and this for me was one of the smarter Freddys when it came to that. It revived the franchise for a while and drum up some buzz. If it wasn't for this movie, I wouldn't have been a Freddy fan, because that was when the movie came out in the early 90s. And it revived that dead franchise, in my opinion, because Freddy's dead. 5 and 4, But here comes this one. I just personally feel like it's super underrated. A lot of people don't give this movie credit for some unforeseen reason, but I think it's a lot of fun. It had more self-aware Heather Langenkamp. To me, again, she's one of the most iconic Final Girls between her and Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, I think about those when I think of Final Girls. Obviously, there's more, but I'm going to lose my mind if I don't think about it. And, of course, Robert Englund yamming it up one last time, because this is, besides Freddy versus Jason, but an actual Freddy movie, this is the last time that he's actually in one of these movies. Right. I loved it. Like I said, I'm not going to take too much time on these. I just want to get my rankings out there. So finally, we're getting to our number 1. This is a lot of people's number 1s. There's only one movie left, so if you don't know, I'm not stalling. Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, is one of my favorite horror movies ever. It's one of those things that I wish I would have gotten to see in theaters. I wasn't even born yet, but I would have loved to go watch that movie in the theaters. Like, if a movie like that came out today, I would be raving sick about it. I just thought it was so smart and so fun. It's when Freddy started to yam it up, so it wasn't over the top yet. It was just enough to make it, like, entertaining. Some of the most iconic kills in that entire franchise, most people think of the "You're on Prime, welcome to Primetime, bitch." That's when Freddy started saying bitch all the time. But he brings her head up into the TV. That's like, everybody always thinks about that one. But there's also some other really cool special effects. One specifically, he takes the guy and turns him into a marionette using like his, I don't want to say, it sounds so graphic, but like tendons. And having the kids in the mental institute fighting back, making their own superpowers because they realize they're in a dream, was a brilliant stroke in my opinion. And even though it still didn't work, there's also the one where he takes his fingers and turns them into, for the recovering addict. I don't want to say this stuff, I just don't like saying stuff like that, especially when it comes to, and obviously bringing Heather Langenkamp back. How many times am I going to say Heather Langenkamp? But to me, there's no series, especially without Robert Englund. And this is, to me, like prime Robert Englund. It's like Jordan in his prime on the Bulls. I was too young to remember. I still saw the last one, but I remember like watching this and being like, so this is what the hype was all about, and it just delivered. The special effects, the plot, prime Robert Englund, prime Heather Langenkamp, Lawrence Fishburne up in the movie. Like, you got Larry, bro. He gets mad when you call him Larry. I didn't say that. I have to edit that out. I'm not even joking. He's like super mad. Look it up, bro. Do not call Lawrence Fishburne Larry. For real. There's a whole thing about it. Anyway, when it comes to horror movies, this is one of the reasons why I rank Freddy so high. If you are a person who's never seen Nightmare on Elm Street and you feel like you didn't like it, watch Dream Warriors. Iconic, man. I even have a Dream Warriors shirt. I'm sure people have seen it, but I've worn it like 2 or 3 times on the channel. But I love that movie. I think I'm gonna watch it now. Like, legitimately, I'm gonna watch it now. But that's my movie. What'd I tell you? I know it's been 20 minutes, bro. Inedible. It's done. It's chalked. That's it. I can't eat anymore. I know. Like, once you do that, it's over. But I got all my movies ranked at the very least with my Freddy cup. But I know not everybody in here is a horror movie fan. Hopefully you still watch. Hopefully you still enjoyed it. But Taco Bell, you know, I talk too much. I want to eat this, but I know. I'm going to take a bite. How do you even bite this, ba? Like, I'm going to bite the soggy part? No. It tastes like a Dorito you got left out in the water. It's just not it. Damn, it is what it is. But hope you guys enjoyed it. I know a lot of people do like horror movies. Some people want to get into horror movies. A lot of people ask for my opinion. And when I got this Freddy crap, I said, this is fate. So we did some Taco Bell. I went to the movies. I saw a movie called The Invitation. I'm not sure if anybody's even interested in it. It's a good movie. A lot of these movies I've been watching just because I have the AMC pass. I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it. There's nothing about it that's bad. Nothing about it that's memorable. Kind of like Beast, it's okay. If you're a fan of like horror movies, it's really not that horror. If you're a fan of it, it kind of had like a chick flick feel to it in the beginning, which is a little bit of a turnoff. But other than that, it's okay. I do like the woman as the main character in it, though. Anyway, we will be back, though, tomorrow. More content, man. I love Yada Hand Signs. They made it to YouTube.